Hello. Today I'm going to tell you about face negotiation theory, or FNT for short. Face negotiation theory lies within the interpretive research paradigm because it discusses how people across cultures handle conflict. Now, FNT was created by a theorist named Stella Ting-Toomey in 1985, so it is per se a relatively new concept. Stella Ting-Toomey was born in Hong Kong, and she eventually came to the United States, where she moved to Fullerton, California, where she currently teaches human communication studies. Ting-Toomey's main focus within the communication field is interpersonal conflict management. Before I dive into the assumptions of FNT, I thought it would be a good idea to give you an example of this theory being put to use in something we see every day: television. There's a TV series called The Assassination of Gianni Versace, an American crime story, which tells the story of a man named Andrew Cunanan, also known as the murderer of Versace. In this show, Andrew is shown to be using his charm to surround himself with wealthy people in hopes that their success and wealth will transfer to him. He has thousands of dollars in debt and eventually goes insane trying to keep up a facade of success and wealth. This is a prime example of FNT because that's what it's all about, the concept of how we display ourselves to the public and the people in our lives. There are a couple of basic terms that you need to know when discussing face negotiation. Those terms are face and face work. The term face in relation to FNT refers to someone's personality that they allow to see to the public, but it also refers to the way that someone projects themselves in relation to a situation or a conflict. Face work is a term used to describe how someone upkeeps or saves their face, their public image. If your face becomes damaged, you do face work to improve it. Now, as we look into face negotiation theory, we can see the different assumptions made with it. One assumption is the idea that people from all cultures in communication studies will try both to negotiate and to maintain face. This means that no matter where we are from, we will always worry about our face. We will always protect it in some way. Another assumption is the concept that the cultural values within an individualistic and collectivist group and the small-large power distance affects framework because it shapes its concerns and styles. Essentially speaking, conflict across cultures is still a face negotiation process. When we talk about cultural differences within face negotiation, we need to view cultures as either individualistic or collectivist. In one of her books, Stella Ting-Toomey said that people from individualistic cultures tend to be more concerned with saving personal face or protecting self-images, while people from collectivist cultures tend to be concerned with saving mutual face images. The United States, for example, is a very individualistic culture, therefore focuses more on saving individual face. Face negotiation theory is very culture-oriented, and it focuses on how different groups from different places will handle conflict in relation to their reputation. However, face negotiation theory also focuses on differences within the same culture. Ting-Toomey places a lot of stock in the idea that an individual within a specific culture might differ from another in that same culture, to the choice to place emphasis on being self-sufficient or concerning themselves with group solidarity. In the United States, the I identity is more prevalent, meaning myself, protect my own image. People from different parts of America might remain concerned with their own reputation and their own face as they encounter conflicts with other Americans. This identity refers to self-value. It's more concerned around the individual, as opposed to like in China, where they would be more concerned with the community as a whole. The idea of self-face can be linked to how we emote in a conflict. And while emotion is not listed in the original propositions of face negotiation theory, there are studies advancing and showing how much our emotions can affect and change the outcome of a conflict. In a study done by Ting-Toomey and her colleagues, Zhang and Otzel, they attempt to link emotion to face negotiation theory. According to the conflict face negotiation model, said Toomey, cultural orientations first influence self-constructional, which then affects face concerns, which in turn impacts conflict behavior. So this study discusses the fact that conflict brings emotion to the individuals and groups and how those emotions impact behavior within said conflict. For example, anger, which is classified as a negative emotion or a harmful emotion, causes an increase in dominant or competitive behavior, but decreases integrative behavior, meaning that negative behaviors benefit the individual as opposed to benefiting everyone involved in a conflict. On the opposite end of the emotional spectrum, positive emotions such as compassion or happiness or agreement can bring about cooperation or civilized communication and improve the gains of people within a conflict. A positive emotion can also decrease rude or aggressive behavior, such as anger or lashing out and making the conflict worse. So we've seen and discussed different terms, assumptions, and emotions, as well as seen an example from modern media and writers of face negotiation theory. Stella Ting-Toomey's theory is elaborate and displays the fact that communication is constantly varied everywhere we go, whether it's out of town or across state lines or overseas. When diving deeper into face negotiation theory, there are many variables. Emotional reactions impact our conflicts. Behaving angrily benefits individuals, like we discussed, while behaving and displaying compassion benefits a group as opposed to individuals. This comes back to the cultural value dimension, or how individualistic and collectivist cultures differ in the sense of individualists protect themselves while collectivists strive to protect a group face. Self-image always changes, just as our surroundings are always evolving, just as they did for Andrew Cunanan when he was attempting to convince the wealthy that he was like them. Face negotiation theory is about cultural differences in conflict and also about understanding these differences in emotions, self-image, and methods of resolution. Thanks.